On today's show, I'm featuring a momentum creator. Yes, you heard that right. If you feel like you are stuck and you just can't seem to figure out how to move forward, this episode is for you. We're going to be talking about grit and how life is not for sissies. Stay with me. Hey there, you're listening to the Living a Limitless Life podcast. I'm Sharon Hughes, and on this show, we talk about mastering your mindset, growing your faith, and becoming the leader you want to be, with tips, strategies, and interviews to help you create a life you love. I'm really glad you're here. So come on, let's go. I have a fantastic show for you guys today. I have a guest that is a momentum creator. We're going to dive deep into what is grit. He's a motivational speaker. He's an entrepreneur, an influencer. He's a leader amongst athletes. Welcome to the show, Rodell Razor.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. That was an amazing introduction. I feel so humbled.
Well, I'm so excited that you're here because you are a very busy man and you just had a new baby and you are pulling double duty. So thank you for your time.
Yes. I always tell everyone that I actually had the baby. I had the hard work. So no, my wife did all the hard work. I got to sit and watch the beautiful part of it.
Yeah, I think I'll be calling Brittany and we'll have a talk about that. As a mama, I know.
Right. Yes,
oh my
absolutely.
gosh. Well, Rodell, you have such an interesting life. You're a young man and you are so established. You're carving out your niche. First, I want you to explain, because some people aren't going to know, what is a momentum creator?
Well, a momentum creator, that term kind of came from sports. And we used to call it the Big Mo. And so when a team, when they get momentum behind them, they actually look better than what they actually are. And the crowd will get behind them. And when momentum's working against you, you look worse than what you actually are. and so, in the world of sports, we were always trying to gain momentum. We were trying to get small wins that led to big wins that led to victory. Those small wins that we would try to do, they came in the form of our disciplined actions, things that we could actually control. And so we would do little things day by day, play by play, just doing our independent job. And then in that process of everyone, I played football, so 11 guys doing the exact same thing on the right cadence. What that does is the other team is probably missing one or two. But if we can all get on the same page, we can create a momentum, a wave, and then the fans are behind it, and then you have this wave of momentum that happens. And so I've taken a lot of those principles that I learned on the football field and applied them to business. And I realized that if we all do our part day in and day out, we win our position, then we can create momentum and we can get our friends, our family, our fans behind us. And so I learned that on the field because I was a small guy. I'm 5'7", 160 pounds. So I needed every competitive advantage I could get. And so I learned momentum really early in life. And now in the business world, it's what every business owner is really looking for. Every influencer, anyone who has a message, not even just business, anyone who just has a message, they want momentum behind them. They want something to help them get the ball moving faster. And we all want results as fast as possible. And we all want to get our message out there to the masses. And so that's how I've kind of coined that term, a momentum creator, because I just help people do the small discipline actions, and then the big things take care of themselves. If you take care of the small things, the big things will happen the right way.
Yeah, I really love that. So if somebody was just starting out, they're like just brand new, they're really clear on their messaging, but they're having a hard time being seen and heard. What is maybe one or two ways that they could create some momentum, like you said, so that you can maybe look better than you are? I equate that to those days you have a really good hair and makeup day for girls. We're like, I look better than I am.
Yeah, it's like when you take a picture with good lighting, you're like, wow, I look good.
Or an Instagram filter.
Yeah, exactly. It's a filter, right? But someone who's just starting out to create that momentum, the one thing that that I love to do is people buy from who they know, like, and trust.
Right.
And what we have to do as kind of the solopreneur, entrepreneur, or business leader, is you got to know, like, and trust yourself. So you got to have a lot of confidence. You got
Yes.
to know who you are. You got to know your giftings. You got to do things that align with your gifts. So if you're great at speaking, find opportunities to speak more. If you're great at networking and shaking hands and being in front of people, do that. If you're a creative and you like to draw and brainstorm, then do a lot of those things that give you that personal momentum. Because when you have that belief in you, you can transfer that belief in others. And, a leader's greatest responsibility is passing on belief to other people. And the hardest thing to do is to pass on belief when you don't believe. Because then you're kind of pulling rather than attracting. And so becoming a magnet really is about having highest level of belief in you, in your mission, in your company, your vision, whatever it may be. And so those are some things that really helped me with momentum. I had to master me. I had to really like me. I had to know me. And once I did that and I figured out the gifts, the things I was really good at, and I think equally as important as things that I'm not good at, or things that don't give me, energy, things that don't fulfill me. And once I kind of realized that, like, hey, I don't like doing, data entry, right? Like, that didn't work for me. So, and so when I spent my whole day doing that, my energy would just drop. And sometimes that's necessary, but if I wanted momentum, I'm not going to do the things that don't give me energy. I want the things that, that give me high energy. And so someone who's just starting out, do the things that you're great at, do a lot of them, and, spread the message out as fast as you can to as many people as possible.
Yeah. The word that really came to me from what you just said is that you're very discerning. You're very discerning. And I think a lot of people are not discerning about themselves.
Right.
They think, well, I'm kind of good at that, but they don't have that confidence. Like, they're not seeing that, no, like, you're really good at this, but you're not so good at that.
Right.
And I know that your faith is really important to you as well. Would you say that's a key component of you developing such deep discernment?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one thing that that you mentioned is, that confidence in self. And there's a lot of assessments. There's love languages, there's strength finders, there's DISC assessments, and I recommend all of them. Find out as much about you. Like, a lot of people are doing research and they got to do more research, right? Like, they got to really learn themselves. And I think faith in that, one thing that I learned, I didn't know this from the beginning, but I seem to always have a natural position to that things were going to work out. I just believed that, and I don't know where that came from. And then as I got older and I started to take more assessments, I learned that one of my spiritual giftings was faith. It was my highest spiritual gifting, and that faith is a gift, and that some people have it, and they don't have to work really hard at it. But just like any other gift or anything else, you can develop it. And so one thing that I, would always lean on is like, hey, I know things are going to work out to my favor. I know God's on my side. And this I have no evidence that things are going to work out right now in the natural, but in the supernatural, I know I have favor. And so my faith, my personal faith, and then, the faith that I continue to express in my daily walk, it's been everything. There was times where, I was 28 years old. I had a master's degree. I had earned six figures since the time I really stepped into a professional career. And I had nothing. I was a single dad. I was getting my groceries at a food bank. My car got repossessed. I had to file for bankruptcy.
Wow.
And there was still a position that, like, there was a hopelessness of, like, my circumstances, but a hope that the future was going to be better. And a hope that, and a belief and a faith that, like, I was going to be sharing that story one day. Like, I had to be where I was to be more relatable, to connect with people at a deeper level, and to share that testimony with others. And so just kind of that internal knowing, like, hey, wherever I'm at, God's going to use it. He's already, and one of my good friends, he always tells me, he goes, hey man, just remember, it's finished. Like, it's already written. Like, God he already had the plan. He already saw this. He already saw how you're going to get through it. And so it's already finished. And so that's something I've just always believed in. And I bring that to the business world. I bring it to, every facet of life.
Wow. Okay. That's something about you I did not know at all, that you went through that. So, and you're also one of 5 kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So you
I
come
am.
from a big family.
Yes.
You're,
4
are
little
you,
sisters, by the way.
oh, you're the big brother.
I am. I am.
Oh, nice. So are your siblings wired like you, full of hope and faith? Is that something that you learned from your mom?
Yeah. Yeah. My
Mm.
mom, she was a single mom. She raised all of us on her own. She worked
Mhm.
2, 3 jobs. And she was the definition of grit.
Wow.
She had high school education. And while she was raising us, she just did everything to make ends meet. And so I learned at a really young age, being the oldest, I started working when I was, before I was a teenager. I think I was 12 or 13 years old when I got my first job, paper route, working in fast food industry, whatever I could do to help out. And to have my own money, that was part of it. My mom did, everything she could to provide for us. But if I wanted anything extra, I wanted the nicer shoes or anything like that,
Yeah.
I had to work for it. And so I would say that my mom instilled that in us. And it wasn't like a sit down conversation, like, hey, I'm going to instill this wisdom into you.
Right.
She did that. But, working as much as she did, a lot of what she did was by example.
Right.
She led by action. She led by that. And so watching her, me and my siblings, we got to see what it took to raise a family and to do it with values. She still made sure we were in church every single Sunday. And so she just really, and she always believed, like I would, now looking back, like if I had her hand, like I would be like, man, like this is so hard. And her, and she always believed that things are going to work out for us, and we would struggle. We had times where we were really down. We had times where things were okay. And she always believed that things are going to work out. And she would just always say that. And, we all made it out alive. And, all 4 of my sisters or myself, all of us that are of college age, graduated from college. So she put 4 kids through college.
Wow.
And yeah, I just always saw her believe. And now that, she always says, she wanted her ceiling to be our floor. And so I see that not just in the natural and what we have in our life and the things, but in our spiritual life, in our walk, and, our faith. My faith should be bigger because I've seen what she went through and I see what she did to provide for us.
Wow. Being that we are doing a podcast and people listening can't see us, but I want our listeners to know that you and I can see each other because it's a video chat.
Right.
Literally just lit up talking about your mom.
Oh yeah.
Like,
she's everything. She was, me and my sisters, my sister Rochelle, who and I are very close. When my mom, she was, it was just us 3 for a long time. And my sister's tough as nails. She's tough. And so all my sisters are so gifted. I have another sister right now. It's about to have a baby girl next month. And I got another sister who's a dancer on the dance team at Arizona State University. She's a very accomplished student. She's a freshman. So I'm very proud of my sisters. And my mom, she instilled some very good values into us. And it wasn't like, hey, like walk by the kitchen every day and read these set of values. Like it was things that she walked it out. And I think that's, in my mind, that's kind of how Jesus lived, right? Like he didn't come with a Bible, right? He didn't come like, hey, let me read from these scrolls. It was like, I'm going to walk and you're going to follow. And you're going to see, my life's going to be a parable. And so we had a really good example growing up.
That's amazing. Well, no doubt that she's really, really proud of you. I'm sure.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. So you have a quote. And I just love this. If you haven't felt like quitting, your dreams aren't big enough. Yeah. Have you ever felt like quitting, like for real?
Oh, yeah. I quit. I tell people, you're allowed to quit for about 10 minutes. You cry, feel bad for yourself, and then you got to get back out there. But life is not for sissies. Especially the bigger you want to play, the more lives you want to impact. I really believe that the enemy's greatest tool against us is distraction and doubt.
Oh yeah.
And so sometimes if he can't distract you, if you're really focused on a mission, he'll put doubt inside of you. He'll put doubt in self, doubt in mission, doubt in your faith. And what God speaks to you, sometimes you'll talk yourself out of it. And so there's days where you're just like, why am I on this mission? Like, why do I want to help all these people? Like, these people don't even want to listen to me, or, my message is never going to get out there. I'm not going to get as big as I feel like I'm called to get, or I'm never going to get on the other side of this. I'm never going to get ahead of it. And there's times where you just want to quit. And I remember as an athlete, so like I said, I'll reiterate, I was 5'7" on a good day in professional football.
What position did you play though?
I played corner, so I was a defensive back. And I wasn't the fastest, definitely wasn't the strongest, and I know I wasn't the biggest. But one of the things that I remember was like I knew like internally that I could outwork people.
Yeah.
If I didn't quit, like there was no way they were eventually going to win. Like I just wouldn't quit, And if you were in a fist fight, like if you just never quit, like you never lose, right? And so I love the Rocky movies growing up, and so you have those moments where you want to quit, but if you don't quit, if you stay in the game, you have a better shot. And I think that those people that are like, well, I never have that feeling. Well, I just tell them, okay, well, your dreams aren't big enough then. You should be wanting to go after bigger game. You should want to impact more people. You should want to touch more people's lives. You should want to get your product, service, message out to more people, because some people don't have that emotion or feeling. And it's typically because they're just not dreaming big enough.
Wow. Whew. You're kind of on fire. Woo! How often do you sit down and look at your goals and dreams and decide, okay, it's time to take it up a notch?
I try to do that. So if I could show you, I would, but I have, you've heard of vision boards, and everyone's very familiar with what a vision board is. And that's not a new thing. And one thing that I noticed with the vision boards was sometimes they were so far away from me that I didn't believe them. I didn't know in the way my strategic mind was working, if I couldn't put a game plan to it, it was really hard. Mm-hmm. And so one thing that I started to do, I started to create vision boards that were only about 90 days. Oh, wow. Things I wanted to accomplish in 90 days. And I do it in 3 categories. I do family, I do personal, and then I do business or mission. And so those are some things that I just do, like a 90-day vision board. And that I can create a game plan for. And it's part of the long-term plan, the 5-10-year plan. But they're kind of benchmarks that I can hit so I can get momentum. And so if I can get small wins, 90-day wins, monthly wins, weekly wins, if I can get those small wins, my big wins are just going to happen. The house, the speaking all over the world, the books that are written, all those great things that, I desire. If I can do the small things every single day, like this podcast is actually one of those things. I wanted to have more opportunities to share my story. And so over the last 30 days, I put that I wanted to do that back in March. And so in the last, I think 2 weeks, I've been featured on 3 podcasts. And I had never been featured on a podcast before. I've spoken dozens of times, but never featured on a podcast. So I make these small goals, and I look at them as much as I can. And I put them on my phone. I put them on my desktop on my computer. I print one out. I go to Vistaprint. I print one out and put it in front of my desk. And I put these 90-day goals out in front of me, and I attack them. I attack them full speed.
That's so much more bite-sized for people to get their brain around.
Sure. Yeah. It's believable. You can look at it and go, man, that's a stretch. Everything would have to work out perfect for me to make that happen, but I can make it happen. And it helps you stay focused.
Well, it's interesting what you said about the podcast, because you and I didn't know each other. Somehow I found you on Instagram. All of a sudden I said, hey, come on my show, because of something that you posted. So I'm wondering, because you set that goal last month, did everybody just all of a sudden see you and go, hey, come, or were you actually pursuing the opportunities?
No, I set the intention in my mind. I told my business partner, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to go build our business. I'm going to go get our message out there. I'm going to go get my personal message out there. Yeah. And I believe that things are going to work out. And I started to make some of those declarations at the beginning of the year. Nice. I made that was part of my goal for 2019, more opportunities. And in February, I got asked to speak in front of 15,000 people. I had never spoken in front of a crowd that big. Wow. And so I set these intentions, and it wasn't, I don't love the common understanding of law of attraction. I
Yeah.
love the law of attraction. I don't like the common understanding of it.
Right.
Common understanding is like, hey, if I want something, I'll just say it and it'll show up. No, I did the work. I posted the content. Like if I could have said that, but if I didn't post content, you didn't reach out to me. Like, so I had to spend the time developing the content, right? I had to make sure that I'm putting my brand out there in a way to where I am attracting things towards me. I'm being a magnet. I'm bringing things closer to me by my actions that I'm doing.
Yes.
And my intentions. But my intentions formulate my actions. My actions bring me the results.
So your faith was literally in action.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's really important for people to understand, because you can be laying on the couch dreaming of doing something, but if you don't get off the couch and take a step, it's like, regardless of what you believe faith-wise, let's just say God. A lot of people say the universe. We'll say God.
Right.
God just, I don't think he just zaps into your living room and goes, hey, by the way.
No, he's not a genie, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not rubbing a lamp, and it's and you know, faith without works is dead. And I'm such a believer of that. And people, you know, the amount of work that we do, it should match our intentions, and it should match the faith. You know, we should be taking actions that match the amount of faith that we have for things to work out. And some people, I think, kind of reserve their massive action because they're afraid that things may not work out, and that's attached to faith. So, so I really think that just like, hey, no, I know this is going to work out, so I'm going to make that phone call. Like I know they're going to answer and say yes. Or I'm going to go to this event because I know I'm going to meet the right person. And one of my partners, he's got a gift for meeting people. Like he walks into a room, and they call it a woo in Strength Finders, but he always meets the right person. Just whoever he was supposed to meet, he ends up meeting him, and he just got this gift of them. But it's a faith, right? It's like, I'm going to go to this event. I'm going to pay the money. I'm going to go. And guess what? I'm going to meet someone there that's going to help me get to where I'm supposed to be going. And you treat it like a lily pad. Like I'm going to go here, and I know that the next lily pad is going to appear when I show up. Like I'm not going to see the whole way across the lake. Like I just know that each lily pad is going to appear as I need to jump.
I like that. Wow. Okay. So what I want to talk to you about is grit, because you've been through so much. And I had a conversation with somebody the other day that was saying, this was the topic. How can you have, say, like 4 kids in a family, and they experience the same thing? So example, like you and your siblings experience the same thing, but a couple of them will run at their goals like you and just be like, I got this, I'm doing it, this is happening, and so full of faith. And the other siblings can go just wayward, like way off track, like maybe in like completely the wrong direction. We're trying to get our brains around, like, why do some people do that? What, you know? I really want to know.
Yeah, no, that boggles me too, because I am fortunate. Like me and my sisters are all pursuing what we feel God has designed us to do. Like all of us are. You know, one of my sisters is getting a master's degree right now, and another sister starting a family. No one's finished college, so that didn't happen in our household. And I think and we were all kind of raised, even though we were raised together in our house, we are all kind of raised separate in different circumstances, because my mom, you know, the more successful she was getting, she was able to provide better lives for my younger siblings, or better quality of life, I should say. Like my life was great. I had nothing I would change, but I see that a lot, and I don't know. I think that there's something that happens in a person's life. And I don't know that this is necessarily attached to just siblings, but I think individuals, there's something that happens in a person's life where pursuing seems harder than settling. And it seems more safe. And that's something that they desire in them. And that's how the status quo gets created, is a lot of those whether it's traumas or experiences, they just create where people go, you know what, like pursuing that was really hard. Like, and it can happen as young as when they're little kids and they fail a test and they just are like, man, I'm never going to try again. Like that sucked, you know? But you know, I don't know the exact answer to that, but what I think is within everyone who has grit. And if anyone who hasn't read that book by Angela Duckworth, Grit. Oh my goodness. That book, she breaks it down and she talks about what separates the great from the average, is that internal factor that there was something within them. And it is something that can be developed, but some people develop it through life. And some people have to go and, work on it. But grit is everything. Like the ability to just keep going. It takes an immense amount of faith. It takes an immense amount of courage. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Like you actually have to be courageous. You have to be afraid of something. And so it's not the absence of fear. It's doing something although you are afraid.
Right.
And I think some people, they get afraid of the dark, or they get afraid of what they can't see. And I'm sure that there is a big solution out there that people, when someone figures that out and they sell that book, of how that happens in a household, of 5, 6, 7 people, exact same circumstances in 7 different approaches and philosophies to life.
Right. Yeah. So you don't know a lot about my personal story, but years ago, I was doing some therapy, and I'll never forget this. The therapist said to me, with what you've been through, you should have like 10 kids from 5 baby daddies and be on crack and living in, just the hood. And I was like, really? And then, a few years later, I was thinking about grit, and I was like, I'm kind of a girly girl. Like, I was thinking, I don't have grit. Everybody's talking about grit. And somebody says to me, you made it this far because you've got grit. And I'm like, who are you talking to? Maybe I do have grit. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I love that, you kind of said like, cause grit, we probably attach it to a very masculine quality.
I think so.
Yeah. And it's very like macho, but like my mom was the grittiest, and she's very feminine. She's beautiful. She's like 5 foot, 100 pounds. She's very feminine. But she was gritty. She was tough, like you couldn't shake her, and she would, there was times where she'd fall down but she'd get up, and I think that's, and I call it the Rocky quality. And, I think Rocky, the character, he was the definition of grit. I mean, the guy got beat up. He was small. But he just, man, you couldn't beat him. Like you couldn't beat him. You could beat him up, but you couldn't beat him. And that's what I think the quality of someone who has grit is like, gosh, like it's not that I keep winning. It's actually the people who keep losing and keep going. That's who we admire. Those are the stories that get written. Those are the people that become legends. It's not like if you ever actually watch a movie of superheroes or anything, what we're attached to as humans, the stories we love are the ones that overcome. They overcome. And so many people, they get to the point of failure and they go, man, I knew this wasn't for me, or I shouldn't do this. And it's like, no, you're just at the beginning of your story. Like now we get to really write the book. Now we got something to work with here. And that's what happened when I was in my valley. And I'm sure the same thing for you is you said, well, I'm already at this rock bottom. I think I can climb out of this. And I think this is the beginning of something, not the end. It's the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. I'm not going to close my book. And life is a lot of people put periods where there should be commas.
Oh, I like that.
People put a lot in. It's like, oh, I broke my leg. That should be a comma. Or I'm divorced. That should be a comma, not a period. It's this and here's what's next. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's really good. That's really good. I think we just solved the world's problems right here.
I know, right. Listen to your podcast because you're solving some big issues here.
Yeah, I think that we should send out a bill for that.
Right.
What's your PayPal address? We'll just have them send you.
That's good.
Gosh. So if somebody wants to work with you, what's the best way for them to reach you? Your personal website?
Yeah, I would say Instagram or my personal website. I've doubled down on Instagram. I think it's the greatest platform out there right now.
That's how I roped you into this.
Right. I think that I just think it's phenomenal. I think the platform's amazing. And I don't get a residual or anything like that or royalty for them to promote them. But I just think the platform is pretty incredible. So that's the best way to reach me. That's where I spend most of my time. As far as social media, promoting anything like that is going to be on Instagram. So at Rodell Razor, RODELL RAZOR.
Yeah, great. And I'll have that listed below in the show notes.
Awesome.
This has been such an amazing conversation, and you are on fire. Like I mean, because you're young, I'm thinking, where are you going to go from here? Like, what is next? So, what are you working on? Do you have something come down the pipe that you can share with us?
I do. I can give you a flavor. How about that? I give you a taste.
Because I actually kind of know you're working on something.
Yeah. I'm always working on something. Always got something on my sleeve. But we do. Me and my partner have a new project that we're releasing. It should actually be here within the next few weeks. So I don't want to give too much, but it's going to help a lot of entrepreneurs kind of have the gateway to becoming bigger, becoming stronger, getting their message out there to who they want, when they want to. There's a lot of companies that service big brands. And, the Nikes, the Apples of the world, big companies with lots of employees. But I think the solopreneur, and my background as a network marketer, the solopreneur, the blogger, the podcaster, the photographer, the realtor, the network marketer, the personal trainer, all of those people, they have such great messages, and they don't have a team of people, right? Like right now I have an iPhone, I think it's an 8 filming this. We have Zoom on my laptop, and then I got an old iPhone, my wife's old iPhone, recording this because I don't have a team, right? So, so I'm doing this so I can utilize this content so I can reach my target audience even better.
There you go.
And so teaching things like that to where repurposing content, how to get your message out there. So I'm going to be helping a lot of entrepreneurs. My goal by the end of 2019 is to help 1,000 entrepreneurs get their message out there.
Wow, that's exciting. I love it because I know a lot of people, they create content and then they're like, okay, now I got to create more content instead of repurposing. So that's golden.
Yeah.
Figure out ways to repurpose.
We do. We absolutely do. And, I'll ask you for this recording. So I'll take this version of it. I'll take that version of it. I'll take that version of it. And then the key is I got to get it out. I got to get it out to people. And I think the solopreneur, that term, it really is those few industries that they don't necessarily have maybe they don't have a plan to build a huge team, but how do they just get out to who they want to get out to?
Yes.
And reach them, inspire them, because just like this podcast, right? Like it would be great if we knew exactly who your target was and we said, boom, we're going to drop it right in front of them. Right. We're going to make sure that they see it because there's people that need to hear your message. And so we're going to teach people how to become magnets.
That's exciting.
So,
wow. Wow. I'm so excited to see what you do by the end of the year. Because I know next year I'm going to come back on and we're going to talk looking back. And going, all those 90-day strategies you did, you're just checking the boxes off. I think that's one of my favorite takeaways from this conversation is because I know personally, even though in the past I had an international wholesale line of home decor and I was in showrooms and, my product was going into different countries. Like for me, I don't know why that was easy, but now when I sit down and I try to list out the goals and things, I get completely overwhelmed. Yes. So if I do it in 90-day pieces, I can manage it.
Yeah. And it's the old adage of how do you eat an elephant? You got to eat it one bite at a time. You can't just take on the whole thing. So and I'll speak this right now. In 2020, I'm going to do my first conference. I'm going to organize my first conference. I don't know. That's faith. I have no idea what that's going to look like. I have no logistics. I have no connections right now, but I'm just believing that the right things are going to line up. I'm going to have my first conference. I'm going to have solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, podcasters, personal trainers, network marketers, direct sellers, influencers from all over the country fly in, whether it's to Vegas or Phoenix or wherever it is. I'm speaking right now that we're going to have our first conference, and I want you to be there. I want you to speak.
Thank you. I was going to say, before you even said that, I'm like, I'm there. I'll buy a ticket. I would love to come and speak. But, and you know what is so great is that I know so many people that know how to put on conferences. So see, you show up and you just keep meeting the right people. Exactly.
So see, now I'm going to be picking your brain, and now I have a new friend, a new person to network with and create with. So
and you know what? And I can come to Phoenix and I can babysit too.
There we go. No, that is something I'm going to need. So anybody who's listening to this, I need a quality babysitter so me and my wife can travel more.
Sounds good. I'll be your Aunt Sharon. Okay.
There we go. I like that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rodell, for your time. This has just been fun and inspiring. And I just love that you shared so many personal pieces here, because people sit back and they look at you or they look at me or other people and they go, wow, the stars aligned for you. Like, how did you do this? They don't know that you had a car repossessed and that you were
Mhm.
going through those really, really hard times, but you were gritty. You kept going.
Mm. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
stuck to your playbook. You
Yes,
did it.
absolutely. Yeah, it is finished. It's
Oh,
already written.
I love it. I love it. Come back to the show anytime. Always an open seat here for you.
Well, thank you so much. And every time I have opportunity to speak, I always like to leave people with my favorite quote, which is, if you haven't felt like quitting, your dreams aren't big enough. So thank you so much, Sharon, for having me. It's been a real treat to be on your show. Thank you.
An absolute honor. So everything will be linked up in the show notes. Reach out to Rodell, follow him on Instagram, and be sure to keep an eye on him so you can see what he does accomplish by the end of 2019. Hey friends, thank you so much for being a part of today's show. Connect with Rodell at rodellrazor.com. Of course, it's linked below. And as always, I wish you every good thing.